Okay, Rakim, so I got some questions for you today. I'm going to start off by asking you about feminine domination because we are now in the visionary phase of the year. The visionary is a feminine dominant archetype. And I just came across some feminine dominant posts on Instagram, and I wanted to get your take on these two posts. So, are you ready?
Yeah, well, visionary is androgynous and dominant, not feminine.
Androgyne, she's not feminine.
No, lover's feminine dominant. Visionary is androgynous.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, so I'm going to read you two carousels by a woman by the name of Nadine Lee. She says she is an oracle mentor, embodied feminine leadership for visionary women, and she really seems to be on the domination tip. So let me read you the first one.
Okay.
So it says here, there's absolutely nothing casual about sex. The dark forces have hypnotized the masses into believing sexual liberation looks like being free with your body and sex. Why? Because when you are a slave to lust, you are weaker. You cannot create as much. You are entangled with many other people's energy and karma, which slows down your awakening and creative genius unlocking. Men weaken as their seed is being drained, their creative seed potential. However, women weaken even more. As the ultimate creators and givers of life, her womb gets hijacked from this degeneracy. For every time she lets a man inside of her, she's then taking on all his unconscious material, his lust, his confusion. Listen to this part carefully, Rakem. If he is not devoted to you, committed to you, in love with you, he should not have any access to penetrate you. Because without love, devotion, commitment, and awareness, he penetrates you with his distortion. And women who holds the alchemical cauldron of the womb then has to bear the burden of taking on his state of consciousness, confusion, lust, and does the hard energetic labor of transmuting it all after he dumps it inside of her. This is why most conscious women choose celibacy when not in union, because we understand the impact this has on both karma and dharma. Conscious women are not here to offer free sexual healing for men for short term lustful exploration. Women are realizing this power and opting out of these mass distortion hypnosis from dark forces that feed off lust and the sexual entities that get activated in these experiences. Conscious women know how to run Eros without needing to have the act of sex and would rather transmute all that elevated Eros into her creations and pour back into her self love. So that's the first one. Your thoughts?
That's a lot. I mean, what part do I need
Okay.
to?
What do you think about where she says women should not allow a man to have sex with her unless he is committed to her, devoted to her, and in love with her?
Yeah, again, that's bullshit. So my main thing with some of these feminine coaches or whatever they're talking about
Mhm.
is they try to tell women what to do. Okay. So basically, a woman can have sex with anybody that she desires to have sex with. So, for example,
Mhm.
a dark feminine woman does not need her man or her dark masculine or anybody to be in love with her or any of the things that woman named in
Mhm.
order to have sex with her. The reason why is because a dark feminine knows what she wants from the sexual encounter. She knows how to pull it from the man, and she knows how to transmute it and alchemize it into something that she's going to use for her own purposes. So she doesn't need the man to be any particular anything. She
Mhm.
just needs him to have the sexual vitality that she's looking for. She needs him to, bring that sexual vitality, to her in the way that she desires. As long as she gets that, then she's fine. So
Mhm.
again, the woman that you're talking about, she's talking about like a lot of romantic stuff, probably like a lot of biblical stuff or whatever, and that stuff just isn't accurate. Like the
Mhm.
bottom line is a woman knows, like empowered women and women who are knowledgeable, they know what they're looking for, they know what they want, right? And so when they see that in a particular man, right, then
Mhm.
they're going to make sure that they get what they need from that man. Now, if the man is not conscious, or if he's not clear in what he wants, or if he doesn't know if he loves her yet, or if he doesn't know any of those things, then, again, a woman who's conscious is going to be able to still pull what she needs.
Mhm.
And on top of that, she's not going to get caught up in whatever. issues that he's having. And on top of that, she's going to be able to transmute and aquamize whatever energy she's pulling from him, because she's consciously pulling energy from him. It's
Yeah.
not about him dumping energy on her or dumping his seed in her. No, she's consciously pulling energy from him. So again, she's speaking more from a romantic kind of biblical sense, as
Hmm.
opposed from an empowered woman sense. Now
Hmm.
again, women being empowered is a very critical thing, right? That takes, education, it takes practice, it takes initiation, all those types of things. So I'm not saying like women just go out there and be free or whatever. No, you need to understand what feminine energy is. You need to
Yeah.
understand what masculine energy is. You need to understand what all these things are. You need to learn to master your sexuality. Hopefully you do that through training and through education, and also, through women who can actually support you through that and through your interaction with men.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a path that women need to be on. Um, but no, once you become an empowered woman, once you're on that path, no, you choose to have sex with who you want, and there's no prerequisite
Mhm.
in terms of the man needing to be in love with you or whatever. That's all bullshit.
Totally. And here's the thing too, Rakim, because a lot of women, they do have a man that's committed to them, that's devoted to them, what you may call a support choice, or what is commonly referred to as secure attachment. The man might even be in love with them, and they don't necessarily enjoy having sex with him.
That's exactly right. Yeah, like the dark feminine coach you were referring to last podcast that we did. You said she had a secure attachment relationship and she left that her husband. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And then she went and got with a dark masculine.
Hmm.
It's because it's not really about those things. You see what I'm saying? It's not just, oh, get a secure attachment and that's it.
Yeah.
No, the feminine body, the feminine spirit, the feminine consciousness is way more complex than that.
Yeah.
And so what women are looking for over the course of their lifetime can't really be defined and necessarily expressed in one man necessarily. Not in some cases it can, but for a lot of women, for most women, it cannot. And
Mhm.
so that's why you see women having these different adventures and initiations and being drawn to different men, is because they're looking for something they can't get from their secure attachment.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so I'm going to read you the second carousel. This one's really interesting.
Was there anything else in that first one that we didn't address?
That's all I really wanted you to address. I mean, she did go on about the men dumping their distortions into your body, and so therefore you need to absolutely make sure that they're in love with you so that they don't put any distortion into you. It's just.
But if the man is in love with you, but
Mhm.
still unconscious and he's still, low vibration, that's not going to fix anything. You see what I'm saying? Like, so let's say the man's in love with you,
Mhm.
but he's uncultivated, he's unconscious, right? And he's of low vibration. You're just in love with a low vibration man. So when that man, dumps his seed in you, or if he mixes his energy with yours, you're still going to, be adversely impacted by that. That's
Mhm.
why the whole point of women's empowerment is important, like women mastering their sexuality, women mastering feminine energy, so that no matter who they come in contact with, that becomes an advantageous situation for them, or they know how to handle it. You see what I'm saying? So I just want you to be clear on what I'm saying. Like, she's trying to say, as long as a man's in love with you,
Mhm.
then whatever vibration he's on will be okay.
Yeah.
Even if he's like, a thief and whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like, and
Mhm.
so that's not the case. It's not how it works. It doesn't even make what she said doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, it's just I think it's women nowadays are trying to ensure that they don't get hurt ever again. And so
Yes,
now they have this bar that the men have to meet. You have to be in love with me. You have to be committed to me. You have to be monogamous. Otherwise, I'm not going to even entertain you. It just feels like trying to avoid hurt.
absolutely. Like to me, when you were reading her status or commentary, it sounds like she's just trying to justify her celibacy. So it
Mhm.
sounds like maybe she had a bad situation with a dark masculine in the past or something
Mhm.
similar, and now she's celibate as a result, right? And now she's trying to justify why she's celibate, as opposed to why she's not attracting a more high vibration man, as
Mhm.
opposed to talking about why she didn't have sexual mastery over herself and be able to alchemize all the energy she was getting from that man that she was with. That's what she should really be talking about. But the point is that she doesn't have that elevation herself. So she can't really teach women that, right? So instead of teaching women how to be masters of their sexuality, masters of the masculine, masters of the feminine, right? She's got to tell women to run away from it. And then she's got to justify by saying, well, if the man's not in love with you, it doesn't do all these things and like, weasel his way through all these boundaries and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then it's just not going to be a thing you should entertain. And that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like women need to be taught true empowerment. No, how do I actually vibrate higher as a woman so I can attract the man I want into my life and so that I can alchemize his energy and so that, I can make sure I'm getting the best out of the situation and the sex and the love and all that kind of stuff. Now, I do agree with what she said, and I've said this before, is especially true for dark feminines. Like a woman's not responsible for healing a man,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, if a man comes to you and he's in need of healing or he's in need of counsel or support, like, no woman needs to feel any kind of responsibility for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
She can choose to do that. She can choose to offer that, but she shouldn't do that just out of like some kind of obligation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely agree that no woman should be thinking that just because a man is choosing her for his healing, that she needs to be obligated to do that. She does not.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this woman is single. From what I've seen of her over the years, I don't think she's actually in a relationship.
No
Eh,
way.
yeah. But she's very popular. But anyways, so this other carousel that I just came across before I got on this call with you. So she says here, only powerful men submit. Submission requires power of the beholder. Only men with something of value can submit. The highest purpose for a man is pleasing and pleasuring his woman. She is the temple, her womb the altar. His true religion is found here. It's the rare few that awaken their hunger for devotion to the goddess. Cherish these men. A difficult woman is the woman who magnetizes warrior kings. Women with high standards call forth men into their greatness. Through his sacrifice, he trains for the ultimate life mission to serve something beyond his ego. Every time a man sacrifices for the feminine, he ennobles. Everything he does is for the goddess. She is the reason he builds kingdoms, accumulates wealth, and rules empires. Without her, he roams lost. So,
Yeah, that's a lot. Uh, so give me something to
so
address
our
on.
warrior kings. So I know in your pantheon system, the warrior is a neutral masculine archetype.
Yep.
The king or the leader is a dominant masculine archetype. But she's saying here that the warrior king, his highest purpose is to basically worship the goddess.
No, no. So every human being's highest purpose on earth is to, fulfill their individual purpose and mission on the planet,
Mhm.
right? So we all have what we call an incarnation objective, which
Mhm.
is basically a reason that we've manifested here on the planet. So everybody has a lesson to learn. Everybody has offerings they're supposed to give. This is the Earth School. You've heard that term before.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
all of us are here to learn, to understand ourselves. So what we are the manifestation of God and Goddess through the human vehicle. And what's happened is God and Goddess are attempting to understand, who it is through these individual incarnations of human beings.
Mhm.
So the highest purpose for any particular person is to understand who you are, understand the God and Goddess within you. That's number one.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of like the king warrior, the warrior king that she's talking about.
Mhm.
Well, these archetypes, the warrior is focused on himself.
Mhm.
So again, she chose a neutral archetype to refer to. She didn't know that, but that's what she did. And
Mhm.
so he's not interested in sacrificing anything for the goddess. In the
Mhm.
same exact way that his counterpart, which is the conservationist, which is synonymous to the dark feminine,
Mhm.
she's not interested in doing anything for any man. There's going to be the masculine counterpart to that. So the warrior, which is also synonymous to the sub-archetype of the dark masculine,
Mhm.
doesn't really he doesn't care anything about what a woman's talking about or what any other man's talking about. He's
Mhm.
focused on the task at hand. He's focused on his individual and personal mission on the planet. The king is a separate archetype. The
Mhm.
king is basically here to advance the mission of the kingdom and of the people.
Mhm.
So what separates the king from other archetypes is that the king takes responsibility for large groups of individuals, large nations of land and large communities. So
Mhm.
what makes you a king is that you actually are serving people. So this
Mm.
idea that the king is serving a woman or the goddess or whatever is not accurate. The
Hmm.
king is here to usher in and make sure the nation, make sure the community, make sure the family is advancing. Now, yeah, part of that has to do with making sure he's honoring his queen and honoring all women, but he's also doing that to make sure he's honoring the other masculine archetypes as well. So the king honors, basically the entire pantheon of gods and goddesses, or all the archetypes. And
Mhm.
so again, she's kind of trying to justify her personal position by trying to subject the king into somebody who is strictly and focused on the feminine. No,
Mm.
the king focused on the feminine. That's true. He focused on the queen. He focused on the goddess, but he also focuses on the god. He also focuses on the androgynous and higher self archetypes, and he focuses on the children. He focuses on the community. So a
Mhm.
king who is righteous and who is focused on his legacy and focused on, his mission is going to make sure everybody that's in his community and his nation wins. That's how you know you're a successful king. When you look at everybody who is one of your subjects or is in your care, and you look at them and say, okay, well, everybody is actually winning it, and they agree with that. That's what the king is really focused
Mhm.
on.
Okay.
She's really on some other stuff. Now, let me address something else she mentioned
Okay.
about the power and submissiveness, right?
Mhm.
Again, submissiveness and power are not analogous
Mhm.
terms. Okay.
Okay.
Power is more aligned with neutral archetypes,
Okay.
right? And the reason why they're able to be powerful is because they're not really beholden to anybody. Therefore, they can store their energy and keep it for themselves. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, you know, submissiveness, it doesn't take any kind of level of consciousness to be submissive.
Hmm.
So men, we know a lot of young men, especially those that go into the military or whatever, or go into initiation, they are automatically put into a submissive position,
Mhm.
right? The same thing with women, right? So you don't even have to be mentally developed necessarily to be submissive. Submissive is a required characteristic that you must have if you want to develop consciously, if you want to learn, if you want to develop mastery over time. And the reason why is because in order for you to learn from others, you need to submit to their teachings and submit to their knowledge.
Mhm.
Same thing with life lessons. You need to learn to submit to life. Like a lot of people have issues or challenges in life, have a really hard time in relationships or whatever it might be, and they kind of play the victim role, right? Well, the issue is if you play a victim role, that means you're not submitting to the lesson. You're
Mhm.
not submitting to like, well, what was I supposed to learn from this? Why did I feel the hurt and the pain from this? What am I not developed within myself that put me in a position where I'm feeling this way? Is it because I chose the wrong person? Is it because, I'm not, I don't have high emotional intelligence? Is it because I have particular healing to do? Whatever it might be. So, in order to really learn and master yourself or master anything in the world, you need to be submissive. But that has nothing to do with power. So, again, she's combining terms that don't really go together at all. And she's just kind of talking and, like I said, trying to justify her own position in the world.
Well, what about women's desire to be worshipped by the masculine?
There are a ton of men who will worship women.
Okay.
Even we see that happens all the time. First of all, that happens, if you, as you know, as a mother, you start out, you see your children, they worship you. There becomes a time when they have this worship and, this fondness and, of you, right? So women get that automatically when they're in the divine feminine archetype. But
Mhm.
then there's always going to be men who are going to have that level of worship over you. Now, the issue that you find with most of your clients and women that you talk to is, well, those women seem to kick those men to the curb. They don't want to be worshiped by those men. Why? Because they don't see them as masculine enough or dominant enough or inside their warrior king archetype enough.
Mhm.
So they reject those men.
Mhm.
But no, women always have men who are in worship. I mean, you have that. You've talked to a number of men
Yeah,
over the years.
I have.
These men have basically worshipped you. They wanted to not only have sex with you, but they wanted to buy you things and
Mhm.
do things for you and give you advice and talk to you for hours. Like these
Mhm.
men basically worshipped you.
Yeah.
The issue is like when you didn't really have any desire or whatever for them beyond, a certain thing. And
Mhm.
so now you're not satisfied. So, you know, the bottom line is every woman can have men who worship them. Every woman can have, be married tomorrow if she wants to be married tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? Every woman can have sex if she wants to have sex. The real issue is, well, are you willing to accept the worship from these particular men? Are you willing to accept being taken care of or, being, protected and married to a particular kind of man? And the issue that most women have is that the answer is no, they're not willing to. And what that means, and that's fine. right? What that means is you need to elevate yourself. So you're saying, well, I want a higher caliber man to worship me. Okay, well, you need to be better. That means you are not where you need to be as a woman. The men who are worshiping you, the men who are approaching you, they represent your particular vibration and where you are consciously. If you want a higher caliber man to worship you and to validate you and to, love you and all that, you need to be better. How do you get better? Internal and external work to get better. You improve yourself, you improve your beauty, you improve your understanding, you become more masterful at sex. You do the things that are required to really elevate your consciousness and vibration. So that's the point that a lot of women are missing, which is why they don't accept what they're receiving.
Mm.
But instead of doing the work, they're going to complain about it, or they're going to set up boundaries and say, well, we don't want these, it's just all kind of crazy stuff. No, you're making excuses for why you're not doing the work. You see what I'm saying? And it's just, it's fine, but it means you're not going to advance at all in life. You'll just be online for the rest of your life, criticizing men and the male species and setting them boundaries that nobody can get through, and you'll end up being alone for the rest of your life.
All right, so the next set of questions pertain to a conversation you and I had earlier where I had expressed to you that I was feeling triggered and jealous because when I see you um, being romantic with your girlfriend, I feel jealous because I want to experience romance with you, and I don't feel that I'm experiencing romance with you. So we had a really great conversation about that, and one of the things you mentioned is that you were saying that the woman that you're romantic with, she gives you a lot. You use the word sacrifice. She has made a lot of sacrifices for you, and that kind of confused me because. I mean, I don't know if you're a dark masculine to this woman, so I don't know what your dynamic is exactly, but in terms of the dark masculine, dark feminine, my understanding was that the 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 archetype that is supposed to be doing the sacrificing is the dark masculine, the warrior, and he should be doing sacrificing for her, for the dark feminine. Like she shouldn't have to sacrifice anything for him. So, am I misunderstanding this?
Yeah, you're misunderstanding. So the
Okay.
dark masculine is not sacrificing anything for the dark feminine. So
Okay.
here's how it works. And the dark feminine is not sacrificing for the dark masculine either. So here's how it works. As a dark masculine, what happens is I invest in myself. So I
Mhm.
become better. I work out. I, get my consciousness and vibration together. I might get my money together, a career together. I just get myself together as a man. I work on my emotional intelligence. I work on my strength. I get my sexual skills together. I pull those things together, right? And so
Mhm.
what happens as a result of me doing that, I end up attracting a lot of women who want to get with me, right? And that's what puts me inside of my dark masculine consciousness and energy. Why? Because I focus on me and making myself better. I focus on, like I said, working out and doing all the things that make me desirable. I could really care less what these women are talking about. But
Mhm.
the benefit of me focusing on myself in that way is that I attract women, right? It's the same kind of thing for the dark feminine. Dark feminine, she focuses on herself, right? The
Mhm.
advantage of her focusing on herself like that, she ends up attracting, higher caliber men.
Mhm.
That's how that works. So by investing in yourself and working on yourself and actually improving yourself, right? Your consciousness, your education, your physical strength, all these things, you end up attracting a higher caliber woman. In my situation, I'm not a dark masculine to the woman you're talking about. I'm a
Okay.
crown choice to her. You see what
Okay.
I'm saying? And she's not a dark feminine to me.
Okay.
I would say she's more of a devotional desire for me.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, a lot of, like I told you earlier, a lot of things that she does out of, understanding how to take care of a man. So
Mhm.
she's had particular sets of training before and a lot of the groups that she's been a part of, and she understands how to deal with a man in a particular way. Again, she's more of a wife type of archetype. She's been
Mhm.
married for 20 years. She'd still be married if it wasn't for some particular things that happened in her situation.
Mhm.
But she enjoys being inside that archetype. So she does the archetype of the wife. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Now, again, are these things that she always enjoys doing? No. Like I told you earlier, she doesn't enjoy cooking per se, but she does enjoy taking care of me and cooking for me. And so, that to a degree is a sacrifice. And a lot of things she does is a sacrifice. Now, it does come back to her in a lot of ways. Like she gets more time, she gets more of my attention, she gets more of those things. So again, it's like a give and take. You see what I'm saying? But no, there's when the dark masculine and dark feminine, there's no sacrifice taking place on either one of those sides. With the other archetypes, when you get into the devotee and etc., then they're just kind of doing what those archetypes do, and they get the benefit from being that way.
Okay. So it's okay for a woman to make sacrifices for her male partner?
Well, it's to me, it's yeah, to me, sacrifices are fine. I mean, that's what you do when you raise children. So when you're raising children, you're making sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? You're going to work so you can feed the children. You know, you're getting up late, or early in the morning when they're crying so you can deal with them and stuff like that. Like it's really all sacrifice.
Mhm.
Um, what I talk about, what we talk about inside Pantheon, Kenya and I, is that we talk about not compromising. So compromise is different. Compromise is when you don't want to do something and you don't see the need or point of doing it, and therefore you're going to hold resentment about it for basically into perpetuity. Sacrifice is different. Sacrifice is like, look, I don't feel like going out and running today, but I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make the sacrifice even though I'm tired or whatever. Because I understand the benefit. The benefit is going to be in better shape cardiovascularly, all that kind of stuff. So that is a sacrifice. To do something that you don't feel like doing in the moment, but you understand the benefit.
Mhm.
That is a sacrifice.
The reason why I ask about that is because a lot of the rhetoric on social media nowadays is that, women should make sure to not overgive. Like a lot of women are really like trying hard to not overgive. Um, and so when they hear a word like sacrifice or give more value to a man, like they immediately like get alarmed. Like, what do you mean? Like, so, um, you know, I guess what I'm asking is sacrificing for a man, is that feminine?
Well, I don't know if sacrifice is feminine. Um, sacrifice to me is these are qualities of that you'll see inside the dark. I don't know about the dark masculine. These are qualities that you see inside. So basically, when it comes to archetype offerings, what I'm
Mhm.
saying, like it is a sacrifice. Sacrifice is something like my definition of sacrifice is that I'm going to forego what I want to do right now, or the pleasure right now, or the joy right now, in exchange for a payoff later. That's what sacrifice is for me. So I'm getting the exchange back. But let
Mhm.
me explain what you're talking about with the women and why they're having this discussion and what's really happening, right?
Okay.
Is what too many women do, and this is not dark feminine. What
Okay.
too many women do is that they lack confidence in themselves. Okay. And so because they lack confidence in themselves, what they do is they overgive in order to get the man.
Mhm.
Right. So they do all these things to try to get the man to love them and to like them and to spend time with them and to basically choose them. You see what I'm saying? And that's what these women are talking about. So, but the issue is when you overgive like that because you lack confidence, right? Because you don't think the man's going to love you for just who you are. What's going to happen is you can't sustain that and maintain it. And so then as you go into the relationship over the course of years or whatever, you become resentful of the fact that you overgave like that. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And
Mhm.
now you're just stuck. Now you're just stuck, you know, uh, overgiving
Mhm.
because you're just scared the man's not going to like you for who you are, going to leave you. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's actually happening to these women. They lack the confidence to just present themselves as who they are and be chosen and be loved for who they are. So they overgive out the gate in order to get the man. For them, it's a strategy to get the man.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? To always dress a certain way, to always cook for the man, to always do this, always do that. You see what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
as a way to try to get him. And then they get tired of doing it after a while and they say that they lost themselves in a relationship. No, you didn't lose yourself in a relationship. You completely and totally showed up inauthentically in the very beginning. You gave yourself away in the very beginning. And now that you've gotten the man and you realize that the fantasy of relationships is not a real thing, now you're resentful about the whole thing and you're blaming that on the man and you're blaming it on the marriage, right? And the reason why the women are blaming on the man is because one, it's a lack of accountability, but two, it's also they're saying, well, I did all this for you. And
Mhm.
the man took the gifts and he took the offerings. You see what I'm saying? Well,
Mhm.
the issue is like the man thought that's who you were. He thought that when you said you wanted to cook for him or you wanted to fuck him or whatever, like he thought you actually wanted to do that. He didn't know you had resentment about that. He didn't even know you didn't really even like him like that, but you're doing that to get him. So the man thought this is who you actually were.
Mhm.
So that's why the women are looking at that as they lost themselves. But it's really inauthentic.
it's still kind of confusing to distinguish between overgiving versus sacrificing or giving value to a man. Like how do you like where's the line? Where's the line between the two?
Well, when you meet somebody, don't do something you don't feel like doing. Don't do something that's not a part of who you are. So if you're not the kind of person who's going to cook for a man, then don't do that at the very beginning. If you're not the kind of person who's going to dress up, and go out and you just want to wear jeans or whatever, then don't do that. If you're not the kind of person who, wants to fuck your man twice a day or every day or whatever, then don't do it. So you have to be authentic, right? Who are you really? What do you really like to do? You see what I'm saying? Well, you start there. And then if the man demands that you go outside of that, then it's not the man for you. Now, if you find yourself violating who you are as an authentic person, then now you're out of integrity and that's something that you chose. In terms of sacrifice, again, to me, sacrifice is different. If you say you're going to have a child with a man, and
Hmm.
just say you have two children, well, yeah, you're agreeing to sacrifice sleep. You're agreeing to sacrifice, being able to hang out all night and go on dates and stuff like that. You're agreeing to, go to work. So you're sacrificing a part of your life and a part of your time and your freedom and your resources for the sake of taking care of these children. To me, that's what sacrifice is really about. You made a commitment to do something. You see what I'm saying? You agreed to do something, even
Hmm.
though you don't feel like doing it. You're going to make the sacrifice on behalf of what you committed to do, and so then you go ahead and do it, and that's what I'm calling sacrifice.
Okay. So another thing that you mentioned is that you said she doesn't bring any bullshit to you, and I'm kind of confused about what you mean by no bullshit. Does that mean that she never gets triggered? She never feels negative emotions? Like, what does that mean?
It's really for me. It's really just like a mature relationship. So I'm 55 years old right now. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of the women I deal with, they're just not doing the little girl stuff anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like they know who they are. They know
Hmm.
what they're trying to do in life. They're not like picking petty arguments, and they're not like super insecure in themselves, and they know what they want. Like it's just a much more mature relationship. Like a lot of the stuff that we talked about earlier, like to me, that's like stuff you do in your teenage years, maybe your 20s or whatever. That's like high school stuff, like just being real petty and being upset and being triggered and stuff like that all the time. But at some point, you have to like determine, okay, let's live life and let's focus on the things that are more important. You know what I'm saying? What are the things that are more important? Okay, focus on our happiness, focusing on having good sex, focusing on making money, focusing on our eventual retirement, focusing on making sure we're getting along and stuff like that. Like that's really the focus of a mature relationship. So for me, again, based on my age, I'm not really entertaining, childish relationships. People who are getting angry and jealous and triggered by stupid shit. You see what I'm saying? But the same things that you told your clients. You told your clients like, look, stop getting focused on petty shit and focus on the bigger relationship. You see what I'm saying? Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Like at some point you have to move away from the childish shit and
Mhm.
like get into adult relationships and start to enjoy life. Like I want to be with somebody I can enjoy life with, right? Where it's not always some kind of weird trigger. We're still working on shit and we're in our 50s and 60s. Like, what is that really about? I think that's really stupid. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Do the women I'm with ever get triggered? Of course. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking with my partners last night and holding space for one of her guys that she's super in love with was, you know, giving her a lot of nonsense and a lot of BS. And I was telling her like he's just acting passive aggressively and stuff like that. And that's what you're experiencing with him. You see what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And she's just like, yeah, I'm just really tired of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, yeah, like at some point as an adult, we just grow out of all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And you look for somebody who understands you, somebody who can hold space for you, somebody who wants to have fun, who you can build with, who you can enjoy without a bunch of silly shit. So that's really what I'm talking about. It's not that people don't get triggered. Yeah, people get triggered, but again in your 50s, like most people have tools to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And most people understand, like even though I'm triggered, like it's really not the most important thing. The most important thing is what I just talked about. The
Mhm.
happiness, the fulfillment, us getting along, and all that kind of stuff. And people have ways of dealing with it, so they're not caught up in this downward spiral for days or weeks or whatever. And we're missing out on life. I'm like, no, we're too old for that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have time to waste like that. And so, that's one of the reasons why I left my last relationship because that's like I don't have time to be, like a lot of petty shit. So I'm up out of here.
So here's where I still feel a bit confused, Rakan, because when I got triggered recently, I didn't do the things that I normally do, which is just spaz out on you and, send you a million messages. I did message you, but I did set the container. I did let you know that, this is not my higher self. This is my animal. And like I did my best to utilize the tools of up level communication so as to keep it from turning into something crazy. So I thought I was doing everything correct. I set the container, I let you know what part of me was speaking. And yet, like, I feel like you like that still annoys you.
Well, I held space for you. You know what I'm saying?
You did, but like, am I allowed to come to you with an up level? Like when you say no bullshit, does that mean like don't ever come to you with a trigger?
No, I'm not. The bottom line is,
Mhm.
again, I do value relationships where, people can figure their shit out. You know what I'm saying? So again, like, why you're triggered. You're
Mhm.
triggered because you're not, fulfilling your end of the bargain. You're
Mhm.
not reaching your potential. You don't have the money you want. You don't have these, what I'm saying? Like, it's
Mhm.
really about you. Like, we know what that really is. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, like I might be me being with my partner might be the catalyst for you feeling triggered about what you haven't accomplished for yourself. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, like, you know what it is. And that's what I'm talking about, mature relationships. Like, at this age, where I'm at, like, everybody knows what it is. We know that we are the ones that are responsible for why we're feeling the way we're feeling.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not you or this other woman or whatever. Like, no, like, I know, like, whatever I don't have, whatever I'm not experiencing is because of me and my habits and whatever I don't want to do, or my lack of discipline or whatever it might be. And so at the end of the day, like, just understanding that, you see what I'm saying? And doing what you need to do to make the adjustments so you can cultivate what you want. So it's fine. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm willing to hold space and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like, as long as you understand, like, the reason why you feel the way you feel is because you're coming up short in your life. Like, you're not reaching your potential. It's got
Mhm.
nothing to do with me or anybody else or any other woman or whatever. You're not creating what you need to create for yourself. And that's basically what it is. And that's what I mean by mature relationship.
Yeah, but still, my question though is coming to you with a trigger, even if I could put it in a container, does that constitute bringing bullshit to you?
Well, no, as long as it's not too much. You see what
Okay.
I'm saying? And I can't say what too much is. But no, like I said, I'll do the best I can to hold space for you and stuff like that. But just think about the dichotomy of it, right? So I have one woman who's like cooking for me every day and doing all these things, buying me stuff, and like there's really she's not asking for any support around containers and stuff. You see what I'm saying? Then I have somebody who's like really not in my life physically on any level,
Mhm.
not doing anything on a daily basis, asking me to hold space. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's more like what I do for a living. What I do
Mhm.
for a living is I hold space for women and for men to support them in their relationships. And so I'm trying to help you understand that it's more of a me sacrificing on behalf of yours and my relationship. You see what I'm saying? It's like,
Mhm.
okay, let me put some energy into this so that I can help her along, even though she should have her shit together and should understand what this is. And she should also have a network of women and other men and people she can talk to, and tools to like work it out and figure it out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'll still do it. But if it becomes too much, it will become annoying. It will become something that's not really beneficial to me, and that I might have, issues or challenges with.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, it does. So, a lot of the clients that I have now, they either live with their dark masculine or they're spending a lot of time with him and they're in a monogamous relationship. And they're arguing a lot, like
Mm.
almost daily. And so, I had started encouraging them to, read the Up Level book and introduce Up Level to their dark masculine. But what's happening is, dark masculine men generally are not interested in Up Level. So, even though I hear your wife, really promoting Up Level as the conflict resolution tool, for any and all relationships, what I'm seeing again and again and again is that dark masculine men aren't interested. So what, if the dark masculine man won't do up level and they're getting into, conflicts and arguments like regularly, what do they do then?
Well, first of all, like I've said multiple times to women, like, you're not supposed to be teaching your man up level. You're not supposed to like introducing up level to him and all that. Again, that's her not taking accountability for her situation. What
Okay.
she's supposed to do is she's supposed to learn up level herself,
Hmm.
and she's supposed to implement it inside of her situation without ever saying the word up level to her dark masculine. She's
Hmm.
supposed to start to utilize the concepts and the tools and the principles of up level to support her in her communication with her man, and then over time he's going to begin to learn what she's doing and adjust to what she's doing. Too
Hmm.
often women try to put the thing in their man's hands, like, yeah, let's learn up level. Like, no, you learn up level.
Hmm.
Dark, you know what I'm saying? Like, as the woman, you're trying to fix your relationship. You're trying to get your dark masculine to do all these things. That means it's your responsibility to learn the tools. You see what I'm saying? And once you learn the tools, you begin to utilize them inside your relationship with your dark masculine. You don't try to like say, well, let's learn it together. When he doesn't do it, you use that as an excuse for why you don't do it. You see what I'm saying? The same thing like with that's what makes a dark feminine who she is. She's not waiting for her man to be okay with her using magic. She's not waiting for her man to be okay with her alchemizing and transmuting his energy. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't talk to your dark masculine about that. You just fucking do the shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, you do it because why? This is your life, it's your relationship, it's your responsibility. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So up level is a tool that you can learn as an individual, and then you implement it as an individual. I think even in the book I might talk about how you can use it as an individual and not feel forced to teach it to your partner. You see what I'm saying? And same thing with spiritual principles and law of attraction. You don't have to teach your partner these things. Just go ahead and use it. You see what I'm saying? So again, this is still part of the accountability equation that women are going through, right? No, you take responsibility for learning these tools. And when you learn a tool, you implement it inside your relationship. Again, it might take a little bit of time, but over time, your dark mouse is going to adjust to your communication style. He's
Hmm.
going to know that, you're speaking and that you're not, this is nothing that you did. I want you to take it personally. It's really about me. And I just want you to listen. Are you okay just listening? Like, you need to learn to implement the tools yourself. So again, women are still learning. Got to take accountability for this stuff. It's not your man's responsibility to learn these tools so you can have a better relationship experience. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's really your responsibility.
Well, what about if the man is constantly like venting to her and and he's angry and he's jealous and he's accusing her of flirting and cheating and all this kind of stuff. Like, is it really fair for her to just go do the up level herself when he's, flying off the handle?
Yes, because she's the one that wants a better situation with him. So she's choosing to be with him, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you need to figure out some tools to handle your man's communication patterns. So you, as a woman, need to become the master of communication in this scenario. Why? Because you're with a man who can't communicate. Well, that's your choice. So take
Mhm.
accountability for the fact that you're with a man who can't communicate. Okay, and learn a communication tool and protocol that'll help you. So when you learn up level in that case, you'll be able to hear his events
Mhm.
and sit and hold space for him, and then ask him how you're able to support him and those types of things. And then you'll be able to do your event. And then when he says no or whatever, you say, well, I'll just listen to you. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? And again, it might take him time to like kind of really get it, but over time, he'll understand that he was venting and doing all this stuff and that you supported him, and that now it's your turn to vent so he can support you. So again, if you are the woman and you want a better relationship with your man that you're choosing to be with, then
Mhm.
yes, you must learn the tools. And again, this is the whole point of women's empowerment. Like, this is about you taking responsibility for your relationship, taking responsibility for your life. It's not your man's responsibility to improve anything. I agree. It's better if both of you all come to the table and learn it.
Mhm.
I coach couples too. When they're both learning together, it's amazing. It's great. But guess
Yeah.
what? That's not always the case. It's usually one person in a relationship is trying to, get a better situation. And so it's their responsibility. That's why I tell my women clients, you don't have to bring your man to the coaching. Like, we'll be able to improve this just with you learning what you're learning.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that makes sense. That aligns with the dark feminine archetype because she can shift her reality just by herself, doing the tools on her own, doing the magic on her own, even without telling him anything.
Well, our whole thing is I create my life. I
Hmm.
create my life means I create my life. You see what I'm saying? It's not we create my life or you and me create my life. No, I create my life. So I don't need anybody else's input to do anything. If I insist on being with this man, then I need to insist on learning all the tools that are necessary to be with this man. You see what I'm saying? So you can be with him.
Mm-hmm.
She can be with him, but she's gonna have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make the money. You got to get the communication protocol together. You got to do whatever it is you got to do. You got to learn how to keep the polarity. If you guys are living together, whatever you got to do, you got to learn to do that. No one's coming to save you.
Mm-hmm.
No one's coming to give you anything. It's not his responsibility. He's
Mm-hmm.
got his own karma. He's got his own lessons for this lifetime, which got nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I know women want to pass the responsibility onto their man to learn all the lessons and do all the work, or at least do the shared work, but that's not how life actually works.
Okay.
If you want a good relationship, you must do the work. Nobody's coming to save you.
Mm, okay. So last question. So if the man, let's say for example, if the man is, he flies off the handle, he's jealous, he's accusing her of shit. Um, and then she's like, okay, he's not going to do up level with me, so let me go do it myself. So is she supposed to kind of like assess how it is that she has attracted a man who is bad at communication or is jealous or like that's what she's supposed to look at? Like, how did I attract this?
Absolutely. That's when she gets to processing, that's exactly how you look at it. So when you read up level, what you'll learn is, okay, my man's yelling at me because he's triggered. It's got nothing to do with me. So
Hmm.
just learning up level will help you understand that him yelling at me has nothing to do with me. It has to do with his childhood, his triggers, his traumas, his lack of emotional intelligence. So that helps you relax right then and there. You see what I'm saying? Then number two, yeah, when you can look and say, you know what, have I attracted this before? It's like, yeah, my man's always yelling at me. And actually, my previous men have been yelling at me. And actually, my father used to yell at my mother all the time like that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, this is a pattern that I'm used to. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, okay. So I did create this.
Hmm.
So now you understand and feel like I'm in control of the situation, right? So I know exactly why I chose my man. I think it's because I'm in love and this and that and all this other BS, right? But really, what it is it's a pattern that I've always had, right? That feels good to me because it's natural, because
Hmm.
it's what I've always experienced as a young girl, and now I can begin to work on that. Can begin to lace that out and all these different types of things. So
Hmm.
yes, up level is a critical tool for the individual to learn. Whether your man learns it or not, or vice versa, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You need the tool so that you can make sense of what's going on inside your relationship. Otherwise, you're just doomed to failure. And again, if you want to make the excuse of, well, my man wouldn't learn it, that's fine. That just shows that you have a pattern of escaping accountability for your life, and you want to stay inside your existing patterns, and that's fine. You can do that, but
Hmm.
we know what it is.
Okay. Wow. Thank you for this, Rakim. Thank you for your time and energy. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely, great job.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Peace and blessings.